Hello students, welcome to Pi Academy, the place for mathematics and science. Dear students, yesterday we started the chapter electricity. Let us go for continuing that. Before that, let us recall some of the important points what we learned in yesterday's class. Just to recall the first point, what is an electricity? Yes, it is the energy acquired by the charged particles because of their motion. What it is also called? Electrical energy. Then what is its SI unit? It is joule. And second important point, it is charge. What is charge? The property of a particle which is responsible for electrostatic force is called charge. And charge is denoted by a symbol. What? It is Q. And it can be measured. What is the SI unit of charge? Its SI unit is Coulomb. And symbolic representation is, see, you just recall the value of 1 coulomb of charge. How much? 1 coulomb is equal to 6.25 into 10 raised to the power 18 electrons charge. And we also know that there are two types of charges. One is positive charge and second one is negative charge. The positively charged particle is known as proton and its charge is 1.6 into 10 raised to the power minus 19 coulomb, and we write the sign plus. And the negatively charged particle is called electron and its charge is Q is equal to 1.6 into 10 raised to the power minus 19 coulomb, but we write the sign minus. They have equal magnitude but opposite inside. What about the charge of neutron? It is 0 because it is neutral. And after this, we learnt about the law of electric charges. What it is, just recall. It states that like charges repel each other and unlike charges attract each other. Next, we have come to know one more important term, that is current. What is current? The rate of flow of electric charges is called current. Then what does it mean? The number of charged particles pass through any cross section of the conductor in the unit time is called the rate of flow of electric charges. This is known as electric current. And we have a formula to find out electric current. Electric current is equal to the quantity of charge divided by time taken, and the symbolic form can be written as I is equal to Q by T. Then what is its SI unit? SI unit is ampere. Symbolic representation is A, and the actual unit of current is, it is coulomb per second. Then symbolic representation can be written as C bar S or C S raised to the power minus 1. And we know that as it is a measurable quantity, we can call it as physical quantity. What type of physical quantity it is? It has electric current has both magnitude and direction, therefore it belongs to vector quantity. Then the amount of current flowing in the conductor can be measured by using a device. What is the device? It is a meter. And its symbolic representation is nothing but circuit symbol is, it is encircled A. On either side, we just draw the lines, then terminals are to be shown. Then what do you call the value of one division on the scale of a meter? It is its least count. And one more information is that the amount of current can be measured in different units. as milliamps, micron amps, mega amps, giga amps, like that. Yesterday I had given you that information. And even we solved few problems as well. So this is about the electric current what we learned in yesterday's class. Now we shall go for continuing this chapter. In the next part of this chapter, we are going to learn some of the important points. Let me tell you one by one. We have already come to know that the current can pass through a body, or charged particles can pass through a body. Then do you say that can electric current flow through all the material? No, it flows through only some materials like copper, iron and so on, aluminum, metals. And what do you call the materials which allow electric current to pass through them? They are called conductors. And there are some materials which do not allow electric current to pass through them. They are called insulators. Examples for insulators are maybe plastic, rubber, wood, glass, etc. There are some more type of materials whose conductivity lies between conductor and insulators. Such materials are called semiconductors. Examples for semiconductors are silicon, germanium, bismuth, boron and so on. Now, so these are the three important terms: conductors, insulators and semiconductors. If I go for taking a wire, whether charged particles will be present in this? Of course, will be there. How do you say that? Because it is a conductor. A copper wire is there and it is insulated. In this, charged particles are there. Do you know how the charged particles will be present in this conductor when it is not connected to the terminals of a battery? Let me show you that with a chart. Look here. Here, this is the conductor. This is the conductor whose free ends are not connected to terminals of a battery. Here I have taken the enlarged part of the conductor. These are the charged particles, nothing but electrons. So these charged particles are moving randomly. So this is the movement of electrons in the conductor when it is not connected to a battery. And you can observe the second figure. Here, electrons are moving in a particular direction. Why? The reason is the free ends of the conductor are connected to terminals of a battery. So, electrons will move in one particular direction when the conductor is connected to the terminals of a battery. Clear? This is about the movement of electrons. Then you can also observe that here I have taken the same, the conductor and its free ends are connected to terminals of a battery. Here I have taken the enlarged part of the conductor. Electrons are flowing from where to where? See that? Direction right to left. Is it not? That is, observe the terminal, negative terminal to positive terminal. This is actual movement of electrons in the circuit. In any circuit, the electrons will always flow from negative terminal to positive terminal of a battery. And this is called electron current or electronic current. Let me tell you the definition. The current which constitutes the flow of electrons from negative terminal to positive terminal is called electron current. Similarly, you can also observe that conventionally we go for showing the direction of current from positive terminal to negative terminal. Why? because the concept of electricity was already known before the discovery of electrons, and the concept of electricity was developed based on the protons. Hence, the direction of current is shown from positive to negative terminal of a battery. This is called conventional current. Let me tell you the definition of conventional current. The current, conventionally the current that constitute the flow of protons from positive to negative terminal is called conventional current. These are the two types of current. Got it? So now you are going to write some of the points what I have explained so far. You can pause the video, then you can go for copying them. Yes, you all have to copy these important terms. Conductors with examples, insulators with examples, semiconductors with examples. Then just we have come to know the movement of electrons in conductor when connected to terminals of a battery or cell, and when not connected and when connected to the terminals of a battery. Then after that we have come to know there are two types of current. One is electron, nothing, or electronic current, and second one is conventional current. Okay, just we have come to know charged particles can flow through in particular type of material that we call conductor. Then what makes the charged particles to flow in the conductor in unidirection? Then you all may say that just we had explained, you all may say that, well, it is because of the cell or battery. Of course, you are right. But how this battery will make the charged particles to flow in one direction? To understand this, first we should come to know some more important terms related to current. So let us go for this. Write down side heading, terms related to current. Terms related to current. Dear students, we are very familiar with the charge, right? And it is denoted by the symbol Q. What do you call the region around the charge where the electrostatic force is present? Yes, it is. It is called electric field. The region around a charge where the electrostatic force is present is called electric field. Then could you tell or just think that what may happen when charged particle is placed inside this electric field? I am going to just place a charged particle inside this electric field. What happens? It experiences the mechanical force, right? To displace this, energy is required, is it not? So some amount of work has to be done. How? We have to bring another charged particle nearby this charged particle. Where is that charged particle to be brought? It is somewhere else. I call that as infinity. So the work has to be done to bring a charged particle nearby another charged particle to displace it, and we call this as whatever the amount of work has been done. This is called the electric potential of this charge. Clear up? Electric potential, that means the work done in bringing a unit positive charge from infinity to the given point in an electric field. Once I repeat, the work done in bringing a unit positive charge from infinity to the given point in an electric field is called electric potential. This is very important term. First one, electric potential. I hope you all have understood this. Electric potential is denoted by the symbol V. Electric potential can be found out by using the formula. It is work done divided by quantity of charge. And symbolically it can be written as V is equal to W by Q. This is the formula used to find out electric potential. And the SI unit of electric potential, it is volt. And symbolically it can be represented as V. Or see that you can go for using the formula to write the actual unit. W is work done. Unit of work done is joule. Per unit of where Q is charge. Unit of charge is coulomb. So it is joule per coulomb. Can also be written as J bar C or J C raised to the power minus 1. Then why we have to understand the electric potential? Let me tell you that. We in this chapter we are discussing about the charge particles, right? Even the charge body also. If a body gets the charge, then what about its potential? Whether it is at high potential or low potential. To understand that, we have to just recall yesterday what we had learned. Here, we had learnt about the structure of an atom. Here, the positively charged particles are protons, which are in the nucleus. Negatively charged particles are electrons, which are revolving around the nucleus in different orbits. Which one of these have more energy, whether protons or electrons? To tell the answer, just I'll ask you one more question. Which can be removed, which charge particle can be removed easily? It is electrons, because they are bound to the nucleus with less amount of energy. Clear? Then, whereas protons, as they are bound inside the nucleus, very difficult to remove them from the atom. Then can you say that which of these two, protons and electrons, have more potential? Protons, that is positively charged particles, have more potential than the negatively charged particles called electrons. So the potential of a body or electric potential of a body depends on the type of charge it has. Here I draw the two bodies and I call them as A and B. This is first body and second one is another body B. It has negative charge. It has positive charge. Which one is at higher potential and which one is at lower potential? So here positive charge, as they are strong, large amount of energy is required to remove them. We can say that they are at high potential, and this body is at low potential. So here we have two bodies. In first body, electrons are more abundant. In second body B, it has protons. They are abundant quantity. It is electrons rich region and it is protons rich region. As it is possible to remove the electrons from the atoms easily, they have less energy, hence they come under low potential. Whereas protons, they come under high potential. Followed? Okay. Now let us go for understanding one more term. Again, I go for taking the electric field. The charge particle is already placed, and when it is placed, it has experienced the mechanical force. Now, it has at some potential, call it as 2 volt. When a charge particle, another charge particle is brought nearby it gets displaced. Then it acquires the position from here to here. And assume that the potential of this charge particle is 5 volt. Will there be any difference in the potential of this charge particle? Yes. How much? It is 3 volt. Got it? So potential difference is 3 volt. 5 minus 2 is equal to 3 volts. And this is known as potential difference. Very important term. Can be asked in the examination. Now let me tell you what is potential difference. Definition. The work done in moving a charge particle from one point to another point in an electric field. Clear up? Once I repeat. The work done in moving a unit positive charge from one point to another point in an electric field is called potential difference. And potential difference is abbreviated as PD. And the symbolic representation is here also capital V. Then the formula that we use to find out potential difference PD, again the same, that is work done in moving the charge particle from one point to another point in an electric field. Work done divided by the charge particles or charge. Then W by Q, potential difference is V, same formula. Then what about the SI unit? SI unit is also same. SI unit is, it is volt. And symbolic representation is capital V. Or another one, joule per coulomb. Followed? I hope you all have understood this. To measure either electric potential or potential difference, we have a device. Do you know the name of the device? It is, device name is voltmeter. Voltmeter is a device used to measure the potential difference across the ends of a conductor. Then how will be the voltmeter? Now let me show you that. Here we have the voltmeter. We have the voltmeter. See that here also we have terminals, positive and negative terminals. But first one, voltmeter, the voltage can be nothing but potential difference. I forgot to tell you one more thing. Potential difference is also known as voltage. You are very familiar with this word. Here potential difference is found out in terms of volt. Then here also potential difference is found out in terms of millivolts. Milli means 10 raised to the power minus 3. Now we are also familiar with the least count of ammeter. In the same way here also the value of one division on the scale of voltmeter is called its least count. So here you can observe 0, 2, 4, 6 volt, 8 volt, 10 volt. 0 to 2, how many divisions are there? 10 divisions are there. So 10 divisions is equal to 2 volts. Then the value of one division is, it is 2 by 10, which is nothing but 0.2 volt. Every division indicates 0.2 volts. Now here we have shown the needle. So needle is in here 10 division. Which division? 10 are there, 11, 12th one. So 12 into 0.2, it is 2.4. So this is voltmeter reading. Next, another one, voltmeter reading in terms of millivolts. Observe here. It is least. First let us find out the least count of this voltmeter. Here 0, 200 millivolt, 400 millivolt, 600, 800, 1000, 1200, 1400, 1600 millivolts. Then between 0 to 200 or 200 to 400, how many divisions are there? It is 5 divisions are there. Hence we can write 5 divisions is equal to 200 millivolts. Then value of 1 division, it is equal to 200 by 5 is nothing but 40 millivolts. So least count of this voltmeter is 40 millivolts. Then let us come to know the reading. Now you can count that. Here up to here 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30, 33. So when you go for calculating 33 into 40, you will get 1320 millivolt. So this is voltmeter reading in this case. Got it? Okay, now let us go for the further part of this chapter. Just we have come to know electric potential and potential difference. Then why we have to learn even potential difference? For this also, where we have a very simple activity to understand. Let me show you that with a chart, why the potential difference should be there between the ends of a conductor. For that, yes, here we have taken, observe this figure, we have taken 2 water bottles. I call them as A and B. Just holes are made just 2 to 3 centimeter from the bottom, and take a straw and fix the two bottles. Next, you do one thing, you may press it with the fingers, or else you just fix a clip here. Then pour the water in both the water bottles such that the level should be different. Got it? Now just observe here. I am going to open the clip. What happens? Whether water flows from one bottle to another bottle? Yes, your answer is right. It flows from one bottle to another bottle. If it is so, whether it flows from A to B or B to A? Yes, you are right. It flows from A to B. Why? The reason is water will flow from higher region to lower region. So here that is higher pressure to lower pressure. The pressure is more in bottle A than B, therefore water flows from A to B. You can do one simple thing to make it as interesting, that is, just as you said, water flows from A to B, just go for adding colors to bottle A. You can observe the flow of water, that colored water from A to B. It's very nice to see. Then can you tell how long the water flows from A to B? Yes, you are right. Till the level of water in both the bottles becomes same. Then if the water has to flow from A to B continuously, what you will do? Yes, you will go for connecting another pipe from B to A. Just by connecting pipe, is it possible? No. So just you go for using the pump, water pump, then it lifts the water from B to A. Then water flows from A to B. From this activity, we can come to know that as long as there is difference in the level of water in these two beakers, till then the water flows. If the level becomes same, there will be no flow of water. If you want to make the water to flow continuously, you will go for using water pump. Similarly, I go for taking two bodies. One is A and another one is B with respect to charges, with respect to charge bodies. See that here there is a body A which has more electrons than B. Here more protons are there. Which one is at lower potential? Yes, body A has lower potential and body B has higher potential. We know that electrons will always flow from electron rich region to electron deficit region. Here more number of electrons are there. So for that connection we have given a conductor. Electrons will flow from body A to body B. If the charge particles, electrons have to flow continuously from A to B, then if it happens so, then only we can say that current is constituted. Here, what do you do to make the charge particles, that is electrons, to flow from A to B continuously, uniformly? Yes, you will go for using a device. What is that device? It is a cell. Then, so here to make the water to flow continuously, we had used water pump. Here to make the charge particles to flow continuously, we are using electric cell. So here negative terminal and here positive terminal. The negatively charged particles will flow from A to B continuously. So whatever the energy given by this cell to make the charge particle to flow from A to B, and this is called electromotive force. It is motivating the electrons to move from A to B. That is why it is called electromotive force. In short, it is called EMF. Now let me tell you the definition of EMF. The minimum energy required to maintain the constant potential difference across the ends of a conductor is called electromotive force. Got it? If this difference is there, then only the charge will flow. To maintain the constant potential difference, we have used the cell, and this is called electromotive force. Here I write electromotive force. Electromotive force. And EMF, it is its abbreviated form. Let me tell you the definition. The minimum energy required to maintain the constant potential difference between the ends of a conductor is called electromotive force. And source of electromotive force is, that is, a cell or battery, an electric cell or battery. Followed. These three definitions are very important in the examination point of view. Now, you are going to write these points, so you have to pause the video and should copy the points. But before that, let me tell you the definitions one by one. Listen carefully. Here I am not writing, but you should copy that. Electric potential, the work done in bringing a unit positive charge from infinity to the given point in an electric field is called electric potential. Got it? Then you will pause the video, you will copy all these points. Next, potential difference. Here also, the work done in moving a unit positive charge from one point to another point in an electric field is called potential difference. So this potential difference should be maintained to make the charge to flow continuously. For that purpose, we go for using a source of EMF, that is called battery. So you will go for copying all this. Next, third one, it is also very important. Electromotive force, the energy, the minimum energy required to maintain the constant potential difference across the ends of a conductor is called electromotive force. Understood? Dear students, observe here. Electromotive force, source of electromotive force is cell or battery. Here I am going to draw the electric cell. Then which terminal it is positive and this is negative. See that here if you want to draw the current, it should be connected to it should be connected to free ends of a wire. The wires are not connected. In spite of that, it is maintaining the constant potential difference. It is because why the constant potential difference exists. The reason is the chemical action that is taking place inside the cell will generate the potential difference. In spite, it is not connected to free ends of a conductor. Got it? And I'll give you one more important point you should copy. Observe here, potential difference. Sorry, electric potential and potential difference. Electric potential, its unit is volt. There is a chance of asking a question like this in the examination. Define the SI unit of electric potential. Nothing but you are going to define 1 volt. Then what is 1 volt? Here I will tell you that 1 volt is if 1 joule of work is done in bringing a unit positive charge from infinity to the given point in an electric field. Once I repeat, if 1 joule of work is done in bringing 1 coulomb of charge from infinity to the given point in an electric field, then the electric potential is said to be 1 volt. Hence we can write 1 volt is equal to 1 joule by 1 coulomb. Next, another point. You have to write the definition, then after that, after writing the definition, you have to copy this. Second one, again, they may ask you the question that define the SI unit of voltage or potential difference. Let me define that. 1 volt with respect to what? Voltage or potential difference. Here, if 1 joule of work is done in moving 1 coulomb of charge, from one point to another point in an electric field is called, then the potential difference is said to be 1 volt. Once I repeat, please listen carefully. If 1 joule of work is done in moving 1 coulomb of charge from one point to another point in an electric field, then the potential difference is said to be 1 volt. So that is also 1 V is equal to 1 joule per 1 coulomb. Finished up. Okay, now we are moving to the numerical problems that are given in your NCERT textbook. There are 3 problems. So let me go for writing and explaining them. So you should also copy with me. No, time will be wasted. Let us do one thing. First I will write them all. Afterwards you can, pausing the video, you can go for copying it. Yes, students, observe. Here I have written 3 numerical problems. 2 from your NCERT text and 1 from the reference, and it was also asked in the examination as well. So yesterday I had already told, and today I am reminding, when you are solving any problems in physics, it is very important to observe the data and considering the units. So now let us go for solving one by one. Nobody should copy. Look at them. Go through the first one. How much work is done? How much work is done in moving a charge of 2 coulomb across 2 points having a potential difference 12 volts? Here can come to know that they have given some physical quantities. How much work is done, you are going to find out the work done. And they have given 2 coulomb. What does 2 coulomb indicate? Coulomb is the unit of charge. So they are given quantity of charge. Hence we can write in data, that is Q is equal to 2 coulomb. Then potential difference V is equal to 12 volts. You are going to find out work done, W. Question mark. Now let us go for calculation. Calculation is very simple. Just we have come to know that voltage is equal to W by Q. That is the formula. V is equal to W by Q. Use half marks will be allotted just to write the form for writing the formula. Then go for substitution where W is unknown and we want we have V and Q. As we have to find out W, I'll go for solving W. W is equal to V into Q, where V is 12 volts and Q is 2 coulombs. 12 twos are 24 joules. Got it? So 24 joules of work is done in moving a charge of 2 coulomb across 2 points having the potential difference 12 volts. Now, just for substitution half marks, and this is half marks. I am writing data half marks. Total 2 marks can be given. Even chance of giving this problem just for 1 mark. Under such condition, we consider only the formula and final answer. And very important to write the SI unit. Next, second one. Observe here. How much energy is given to each coulomb? Each coulomb means 1 coulomb of charge passing through a 6-volt battery. 6 volt indicate it is voltage of the battery. So that means to make the potential difference of 6 volt with respect to 1 coulomb, what amount of work has to be done? Here also we are going to find out work done. So each coulomb, quantity of charge is 1 coulomb. 6 volt is nothing but it is voltage. V is equal to 6 volts. Then you are going to find out energy is nothing but work done. Then calculation. Again, same formula should be used. That is V is equal to W by Q. And W is equal to V into Q, where V is 6 and Q is 1. It is 6 joules of work has to be done to make 1 coulomb of charge to move from one point to another point with a potential difference of 6 volt. Clear? Okay. Observe. Third one. This is also very important in the examination point of view. Here also first I write the data. Go through the given statement. In 10 seconds, a charge of 25 coulomb. 10 seconds, a charge of 25 coulomb leaves battery and 200 joule of energy are delivered to an outside circuit. As a result, with this we have to find out, that is they have given, observe this. What is the potential difference across the battery? One thing. Second one is what current flows from the battery. This is second one. This is also very simple one. First I go for writing the magnitudes. 10 seconds. 10 seconds what it is? Second is the unit of time. So they have given time. T is equal to 10 seconds. Then a charge of 2 coulomb. 25 coulomb. What it is? It is quantity of charge. Q is equal to 25 coulomb. Leaves a battery and 200 joule of energy are delivered. So 200 joule is the unit of work done. Hence we can write W is equal to 200 joules. You are going to find out the first one. What is the potential difference? Potential difference is V. and second one is current I. We have formula to find out both voltage as well as current. Then what is voltage formula? V is equal to W by Q, that we have already learned. What is W? 200 divided by Q is 25. Ones are, it is 8s are. So potential difference across the battery is 8 volts. Now, this is first one. Let's move on to second one. Second one is what current flows from the battery. We have a formula to find out current also. What is I equal to Q by T. What is Q? Q is 25. Time is 10 seconds. It's equal to 2.5. What is the unit of current? It is ampere. So current is 2.5 amps. So these are the three important numerical problems. Now what you should do is you have to pause the video and copy all these three problems. Then again you should come back to the class. Dear students, yesterday we had made a simple circuit. I have taken the same. Just observe this. And these are the electrical components that we have used. Electric bulb, cells, and the switch conducting wire. When I switch on, the bulb starts glowing. The bulb is glowing means current is flowing. See, this is, here I am going to mark it. This is the path in which the current is flowing. And we call this part as circuit. Got it? It is completely closed and continuous flow of current can be observed. So this is the path in which the current flows, is called electric circuit. So let me tell you the definition. Just observe here. Here I have drawn the same. Here the here cell is taken. You know that terminals can be observed. This is positive terminal and it is negative terminal. Here is the switch. When you close it, then the current will start flowing from positive terminal to negative terminal. This is the conventional current. The whole world is following. And this is the path in which the current is flowing, and we call this path as electric circuit. Important definition, chance of asking in the examination. That is, the closed and continuous path in which current flows is called electric circuit. Now, here, whatever the different electrical components are there, how these are connected. So, to connect them, we have a diagram. And we call the diagram as circuit diagram. Let me draw that. Observe. Circuit diagram. Observe. What are the different electrical components are used? One is electric bulb. In your previous classes, you have already learned the circuit symbols of electric bulb. So this is an electric bulb. Now, and this is the switch, and is a cell, and this is positive and is negative terminal. The positive terminal of a battery is represented with longer line and negative terminal is represented with shorter line. Now, I am going to draw the line to represent the conducting wire. Now, this is the diagram which represents how different electrical components have been connected by using the corresponding symbols of the electrical components is known as circuit diagram. Observe it. Here let me show the direction of the current. It is possible when you switch on. Circuit is closed. The definition of circuit diagram is also very important. Let me tell you. The diagram which indicates how different electrical components have been connected by using the symbols of different electrical components is known as circuit diagram. Clear? Likewise, we are very familiar with many many electrical components. It may be the fuse, what we have learnt in your previous class, wire, then resistor, rheostat, AC, that is alternating current, direct current. For all these symbols are there. Let us go for learning the symbols of these electrical components in the next class. So, dear students, before concluding the class, again I am reminding you, please work out the syllabus whatever we covered on the same day and don't keep anything pending. And today we have learned some of the important terms. Practice as many times as possible. So with this, let us stop. Let me continue in the next class. Thank you.